welcome back. We are excited to announce the Soccer Rebellion Bridge Street League starting up here soon. We got the whole posse here from the Soccer Rebellion, along with my man Mike D. Mike D, how you been?
Man, fantastic. And I got to tell you, this year with the Bridge Street League, this is the year. This is the evolution of street soccer in Grand Rapids. So let me just give an introduction to the crew. We got Eric Dublis, COO of the Soccer Rebellion. We got Corey Mattime, who is DGRI. He is actually the account manager for Las Conchas, where we play the court. So he's the one that's made this all possible, and he's responsible for the new upgrades that we have coming to the courts. And he's also a player in the Bridge Street League. So he's got a lot of different unique perspectives. And then we got Dre, our apparel director, new tournament director, and also co-host of the Bridge Street League News. So it's good to get the gang back together because May 8th couldn't come sooner. A lot of hot topics that we're going to go over today.
Great to hear. We got some topics you can see on your screen. They're the top headlines. Dre, as a fashion designer, I'm gonna need that red hoodie, man. That is nice.
Well, you know we got to take care of you, Jay.
So you can see the headlines here. We got a new surface coming. Big news here. Mike D will fill everybody in. There's going to be a new whistle. We'll get to that. Street Glory meets real money. Cash money.
Good change.
And you're going to earn your place. And we got a little cliffhanger, some big news coming at the end. So stick around. So the biggest news, I think we want to start off, batting lead off. I know you're a Yankees fan, Mike D. Tell everybody about the new surface and what's going down at Las Conchas.
So this is now, I'm gonna hand this off to Corey, but now our third court. So traditionally at Las Conchas, you have 3 futsal courts, a little bit smaller. Street soccer courts is where I'll say it, just because the dimensions are different and we play a different game there. So just for political reasons, because the futsal guys come at me and saying it's not futsal, okay, whatever. All right. So we have 3 futsal courts, street soccer courts that were concrete. Now we are going to take one of the courts. Corey has helped us pave the way to turn one of the courts into a turf court, and that's that far third court, which does a lot for the league, because now within the league, everyone's not going to just play on the concrete. They're also going to have a chance to play on the turf. So your technique will change, how you play will change when you get to that turf level, which just is another adversity that comes now within the league. So, Corey, why don't you explain to everyone how we kind of got this done and the reason behind getting turf at Las Conchas?
Yeah, so like Michael was saying, there's 3 courts at Las Conchas, open to public, and we use them for the Bridge Street League. And I think a big direction that we've had is we wanted to keep evolving each year. We've done the Bridge Street League. Each year we've had Las Conchas open. And so having the turf court is just a really exciting addition to that space. I think people like the asphalt, the grittiness of playing on the courts, but there's some people that, they're concerned about their injury history while it's playing on asphalt.
Yes.
There's people that want to be involved, but they're just a little bit apprehensive to get back into it. I'll be honest, when I play, it's really competitive. It's a lot of fun, but by the end of the night, my knees are gone. I'm one of the older guys that play in the league, but having this turf allows different varieties of the games being played. It allows people that, a little bit apprehensive to fully commit. It's now like, right, you've got options now. You can play in asphalt in the regular games, but then also there's going to be a different, unique opportunity when you play on the turf now. Most people have experience with that, and having that space now outside, a mixture of turf and a mixture of asphalt, I think it's going to be a really good addition to Las Conchas and the Bridge Street League.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, Corey, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like playing on turf is just a different game.
Yeah.
The way it moves, I feel more confident in my skill, I think, on turf, because I didn't grow up playing futsal. So I just feel, I'll go in there with a little bit more swagger when I have turf. Jay,
I didn't think that was possible.
Okay, relax. You haven't seen me play. You don't see me play for that reason, because I got a brand to protect. I can't sit there and humiliate myself. You know what I mean? I've had 3 knee surgeries. All right. So, but yeah, Corey made really great points on all that. It's going to be more advantageous. Sorry, we're having a hurricane over here apparently, but I'll hold down the fort. But it's going to be more advantageous for male people to want to play. So from what Corey's created here in the Soccer Rebellion, as far as community goes, this is more inviting, I think, in a sense, for everyone to be able to play. And we're already seeing the courts being used. I know Bill Kirk, who's one of our friends and for DGRI, just sent us a picture of people already in line to play pickup yesterday. So, Las Conchas is, we've said it and we'll say it a million more times, it is becoming a real cultural spot known across the Midwest, hopefully the nation soon, of being the Rucker Park of soccer. I haven't seen another place like that, and we've traveled across the country with Soccer Rebellion that speaks to the soccer culture and provides as much as what Las Conchas does in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, I'd just like to add as well that the nice thing about having the courts is the variety. So I didn't want to go every court turned into turf. I didn't want to just keep all asphalt courts. I wanted to have people to have that variety of one night playing turf, another night playing asphalt. It's given the public the choice of where they want to play now at Las Canchas. You've got 3 courts, you've got variety now. So you can go to that one court to play in the turf, or you can go and just use the traditional 2 courts that are still asphalt. So it really is for the public to enjoy and embrace and see how much Las Canchas was from the start to what it is now.
Yeah.
Agreed. And Corey, with the weather, you could also use there might be nights or when it's raining, you could still use turf and get some games in, correct?
Right.
That's a really good point.
That's what I'm
here for. So Dre, I guess, and Eric, from your perspective, what do you think? I'll start with you, Dre. The integration, knowing the feedback that we've got from some safety concerns from the league last year, and again, this is street soccer, so there's a little bit of edge to it. But how do you think this is gonna go with the league now, having a variety, like Corey was saying, to add that to where you're almost, you're challenged to play a different style of game, and maybe from some of the other teams, this might lift their game, the teams that aren't as top and as versed in futsal.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this, right, in some venues that we've actually had tournaments, right, where one court is more of an asphalt or a harder surface, and then you have the turf as well. Players have adjusted well, at least from what we've witnessed over the last couple of years. But I just think personally at Las Conchas now, I mean, we got the youth involved, right? So like even beyond the league, I feel like now we get that opportunity to get those kids out there, because again, we're trying to spread the word of not only just the game of soccer, but street ball, right?
Yes.
So those kids are now learning on asphalt, on turf. When we got games at night, we always got kids out there dribbling the ball or looking to get into something. They can go over to the turf court. You you got babies at Las Conchas, they can get out the stroller and and crawl around and run around. It's a family affair out there on Friday nights, man. So it's just like whatever we can use those courts for, trust me, they will get used for, just because of the different communities that we have coming out on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to set everything. I think it's going to be good. I do think it's a good way for players that possibly have never played futsal, as like you guys were saying before, to kind of ease into it and get the feel for that small-sided style of play before they get fully into it. Because I think you're right. I do hear that the asphalt is a big concern. But apparently, we're going to have a daycare in there, according to Dre. So we're going to start the baby rebellion. So, yeah, I think it's a good all the way around.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Stella on the way, man. We got to have a place.
Tomorrow morning.
That's great to hear, guys. I know you've been hard at work over the winter to make those things happen. If we move here to our next topic, our next headline, some other big news. Mike D explained where this came from and how this is going to take place. The whistle arrives in 2026.
So, all right. So, this controversy is going to. I see. Look, you already see Drake, but good. That's good. All right, let's talk about it. All right. So, adding a referee isn't about slowing the game down. It's about protecting the game. All right. So, it's not where you're not going to call your own fouls anymore. We still got to protect the culture in that sense and keep it honest to street soccer. But the referees, the judges is what we call it, will now have a whistle, and they would not be advantageous to blow it. So if they are seeing something blatant and redundant, the referees will now be controlled. The whole idea behind it is to just be able to control some of the issues that would escalate last time and get in front of it a little faster. So just to be a little bit proactive in that sense, and then be a little bit more demanding to keep the flow. So when the flow happens, it's not a question if it's a foul or not. Did he raise his hand? The whistle blows and he ignites that it was a foul. It's not for them to be judged in the sense of this was a foul, this wasn't a foul, unless it becomes dangerous. And so the more that it gets out of hand, we're going to start eliminating that. And then also what you've seen with in the past, you've had players in certain games kind of learn how to play the system a little bit, right? And making things that weren't fouls and not fouls. So what we got to do, and listen, we want to make street soccer and keep it authentic, but we also really want to step up our game and evolve this to be something super substantial. To we got things of putting this professional to making this something really legitimate, and this is our first step into doing that. And so we understand that safety's got to be there, and then protocols and putting this in a box to everyone fully understands the rules and how you play the Bridge Street League. And there's no eliminating some of the gray areas. So, but I know I texted Dre. First thing he sent me was one of these. Right,
Well,
he gave me the Julius Randle. So I'm curious, Dre, to kind of hear your thoughts on that. But Jay, yeah.
Well, I have
ahead.
a question, and then I'll turn it over to the floor, see what you guys think. But my first question, and for anybody watching it, Mike D, are you saying if I can still call a foul in the game if we're playing, but then the referee will just kind of have the final say if there's an argument, or no?
It will if it turns into it being something that's not, then
Okay.
so what will happen, they can call the foul and the ref will agree with it with the whistle being blown. But if that starts to become something that it's not, and starting to use that leverage against the game, you know what I'm saying, to control the flow, then you don't hear the whistle. So the idea is for the players to get used to the whistle again and not just this. So when it becomes erroneous and you don't hear a whistle, you continue play.
Okay. All right. So Dre, you're not in favor of this. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not in favor of it. I mean, the way Mike has broke it down and explained it, I think that this is valuable because again, we have traveled for the last 5, 6 years, and we do hear this, right?
Okay.
Especially in different cities. But what I don't want this to turn into is guys looking for a bailout or ladies
Yeah.
looking for a bailout. Because then now we have to step in, or whoever the officials are, they now have to step in, and maybe this is a championship match. Usually Mike is usually the one in the cage during a championship, but it's let's say a playoff match. Mike can't be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And then now we're looking for a call, and it's a big call or a miss, or we stop the game, somebody scores. There's no replay, right? So I think regardless if it's refs or not, I mean, I literally I'm watching sports for my career. I'm an athletic director. Like everybody yells at the referee, no matter what, right?
Mhm.
So it's gonna be interesting. I'm not against it, but I'm interested to see, when we have our weekly meetings after each week, how these things are kind of being perceived.
Corey, as a player, what are your thoughts?
I kind of recognize what everyone's been saying. I think, Michael, I've spoken to you about this before, and I think as a player, we need someone to just step in, just to make those final decisions. Because there are some times where I played in games and it's got scrappy, and it gets really more about who just wants to win more than actually playing the sport and recognizing talent. So there'll be times where, our team calls a foul, and for some people, they might not see it as a foul. And then because we've set that tone, all of a sudden, any contact is like they want to put their hand up, and it stop, start, stop, start.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if the judges get involved to stop that kind of behavior happening, I'm all for it. I don't want to get rid of the culture, but I also recognize as a player, but also as like a person that runs Les Canchas, there's more eyes now at that place. So again, we want people to be passionate. We want people to, be fired up, but not to the point where we're having fights every week or people getting personal with like insults to the point where we're stopping games. So again, I don't want to take away the element of like the players should hold their own when it comes to dealing with situations. But I think now we're just getting more eyes on our league. and we need someone to just step in case it gets a little bit too fast. So again,
Yeah,
I recognize what Dre's saying. I recognize what Michael's saying. It's just, we'll just see when it happens, I guess. But I'm for it at the moment.
So I think honestly, I think this should raise competition. I honestly do. I think that, and the way that we're setting out to do this, you now have a little bit more guidelines of what you're playing into. So, like what's Corey saying, it's a little bit more defined on what you can and cannot do, and a little less BS. Because I agree with how Corey said that it comes down to how emotional you are about that wins, and sometimes on how you call that. Like you'll see a guy, no, that was a foul, and it gets to that level. So having that part contained to understand that, and we should be all men. Like right, the teaching of being able to govern yourself or women and all that is there. But when you're in that emotional state, this is why you have refs in the first place, right? Is
things
so
get
you
competitive.
can, yeah, to keep it in perspective.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Mike D, you and I always talk about, basketball, and we kind of make the parallels between, our dream of the Rucker Park, like you said, of soccer. And, a lot of us here right now grew up playing pickup basketball. So I think what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, is we've all been in those situations where, in basketball, maybe it's 9-9 and it's game point, or in pickup soccer outside, it's like Dre said, it's a championship match. And all of a sudden there's somebody who just calls every little foul because they don't want to lose. And that's what you're trying to protect, correct? You're trying to keep away from that and the integrity of the actual game that's being played.
Yeah. Eric, you agree with that, right?
I completely agree. I think the other thing that it does too is it changes the focal point of the anger. So I think like when you see that person who keeps throwing up the hand and they're calling fouls, I think the anger gets directed at the other team. I think when you bring in that ref and have him kind of blowing that whistle, I think a lot of times you're going to see the anger go more towards the ref and yelling at the ref, which will kind of divert, I think, from some of the clashes that you'll see. But again, I think it'd be lovely to be able to do it the way we used to do it, but I think there's just enough bad apples that have kind of taken advantage of it, like you guys were saying, or even gotten into too much of a physical altercations because of it, that we have to make something to help us control it a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I love it, Eric. And I try to always divert all of my anger towards you, not the ref.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but you're used to
it's very easy. I can take it all,
Well,
I'm,
you know what?
I'm blamed for everything.
That the truth behind that is the referees that do this. Like, so you guys know, Shafi Subhan asked to be a ref, and I think he's the type. He's the perfect type. So if you guys don't know Shafi's part of the Soccer Rebellion. He is does all that photography and video and commercials and all that. Works for Aves, one of my great friends. He's kind of the thick skin that we need. So Jelvin and the boys, like it's going to be, they can continue to be the judges, but they're going to have to step their game up. And if they're not able to be assertive in the moment against these young men and young women that are in a passionate moment and take that heat, like it does take a special person to be able to do that calmly and redirect some emotion in the heat of passion, And so that's, to us, I think that is going to be the biggest challenge, because we're asking this to be a unique way of reffing to still protect the culture. And so we will have to do our due diligence, team. And luckily we have the underground now. If you guys don't know, we have a new facility in the underground, Wyoming, and in Burton. It's the best soccer facility in West Michigan, probably the world, to be quite honest. So if you haven't gone, make sure you check it out. But that is a great place for us to be able to really figure this out, to really make sure that when we come into the Bridge Street League and we treat the Bridge Street League with the respect that it's earned over the past 4 years.
Well, I like it. I'm going to give you credit for trying it and trying to continue to evolve as a league and make things better for the players, because that's what it's all about. If we go back to our next segment here, Street Glory meets real money, cash money. Mike D, what is going on?
So it's about time, in my opinion. We've always tried to do little things, because it's free for the players to do this. They get local organizations that sponsor the teams. I think, and that's the great part about this, is that this is a true community league. Where all the local organizations have their jersey, create the jerseys, and with their sponsorship, pay for all the features that go into the Bridge Street League, the DJs, the refereeing, the jerseys, the highlight videos, all those things that have been able to mold this into something substantial. So now with the cash prize, what we're really trying to elevate is the passion behind playing, and give a little bit more emphasis in preparation for these games. There's more skin in these games, and we want to see if we can take this to the next level. So there is pro relegation, which we'll get into in a second. So not every division will play for cash, but the top divisions will, and they'll have a chance. And we are, when you're talking these top tier, you're talking professional players, semi-pro players, and they're playing at an extremely high level. And we don't, we want to make it worth their while to play in this league, and it's earned, and what they're doing, and the fandom that they've created, and how they've put this league on the map. They're deserving of this, and so there's more skin into the game. So money is still secondary to what I think this really brings to you, and that's reputation. Like being named, Bridge Street League champion. There's a reputation that's starting to build behind that. And you can see that as this league continues to grow. And I think that's what really carries the weight. But now hopefully this puts more emphasis on the preparation for the league and more skin in the game, so people are continuously showing up each night on Friday night. So it's going to work in a sense. Like, I can't even tell you what the cash prize is going to be. And I think that's exciting. I have a number in my head that I'm hoping to get to, but we will raise money from proceeds each week. Every night we'll have donations. We'll put it on social. So, and we will split that pot between the men and the women, straight down the middle. And so this is going to be something real special. And again, I think that's also another reason for the referees to make sure we can control that environment a little bit.
So are you hoping to have a payout each week, or you mean at the end of the season?
End of the season.
End of the season. Okay. So the men's champion, women's champion kind of thing.
Yes.
Nice. I love it. All right. Dre, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I love it, man. I think, again, like we talked about, it's always about, raising the level of competition. So, I mean, anytime you add money to it, of course, we've seen this, like I said, time and time again. When the money's on the line, you see all the sick plays, and you see even more coaching from the sideline, and the fans getting into it. So I'm all for it.
Raises the intensity a little, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Dre,
Corey.
do you
go
feel
ahead.
like we have a little bit of a responsibility here, right? Like, it's almost like I feel like as the league, like, it's our responsibility to push growth, to push players to want it more, to play better, to develop.
Yeah, I mean, not only with the development, I mean, some of these guys, we've seen these kids since they was 20 years old, right? 19 years old. Some of these dudes have been around now for the whole, the entirety of the soccer rebellion. So I think we're seeing the growth in their own clubs, right? If you check social media, they're playing in Lansing, they're going all over and traveling and building their own brands. So what would we, to be not to, be a part of that as well, the things that they're doing. So I think that continuing to give them that platform that they've earned, right? I think it's going to make for a special season.
Yeah. Well
Corey,
said.
from a player's perspective, what are your
I
thoughts
think
on
it's
cash?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be excited when they hear that. I think it's a great testament to the evolution of Bridge Street from what it was from the start when we opened Las Canchas to what it is now. And I think there's going to be a lot of excitement knowing that there's money involved. And for the players' side, I'd say I think a lot of people will be appreciating this, because for them, they're like, we've helped build this as well because we've been playing in league. And now we're at a level where, there's a lot of eyes on us, not just in Grand Rapids, but like in West Michigan. And knowing that there's some money involved for like the hard work, for their commitment to being in this league, I think it's going to be a huge incentive to a lot of players. The only thing I would recognize is I'm glad we're getting refs then for this case, because
Yeah.
basketball, soccer, you have it where people play for money and it's between friends, and they take it very seriously. Now we're at a league where it's like not everyone knows everyone. There's a lot of teams involved. Turf as well, where people can slide. It could be more physical on turf because people know they've got that.
Good point. That's a good
condition.
point.
So for me, I'm glad we're getting more of a judge referee involvement potentially, just to stop anyone getting too distracted by the money potentially.
Yeah. I have a pretty good idea who the guy is that's going to be holding the briefcase handcuffed to his wrist at the championship match. He's going to be walking in like a WWE.
I agree with that so much.
There's only one person touching that money until the hand gets handed off to the people.
As the man that's going to be holding the briefcase, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'd just really like to I tell you, Jay, how much I appreciate that you let me go last every time. So that everybody can say what I want to say before me. So I think you're doing a great job, Jay. But no, I think it's awesome. It's something Michael and I kind of talked about a little bit last year about just ways to continue to create the intensity and continue to create this league and make it even more legit and more like its own entity. So we keep doing, I think this and the refs this year, it's like every year you just see us, we're taking that step closer and closer to kind of really making this something where it'd be awesome to be able to almost franchise something like this, like have Bridge Street leagues across the country. So it's like, this is
not franchise, a national league.
Yes. National league. There it is. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. National league. Yeah.
So, that's
Hey, Eric.
Yeah,
you know they listening, man. You know they listening.
No doubt.
You know they listening. You know they watching, man.
Was that groundbreaking?
Yeah, don't say
No,
that
that's
too
true.
loud.
He's right. I mean, how many copycats we got already? Like, you're not wrong.
Come on now.
Next topic.
Okay.
Promotion relegation, a hot topic in America and soccer in general. We've talked about it quite a bit here on our Sunday Night Soccer and on our podcast. USL is starting to instill promotion and relegation, probably most notably here in the U.S. Eric, let me ask your thoughts on promotion relegation hitting the Bridge Street League.
This I think is really, really exciting. It's been interesting. Me and Michael were going through the last year standings and putting together kind of what teams were where, and you can kind of have this eyesight of, oh, this team is ready to make that jump, or these guys might have to, push a little harder. I think you'll start seeing now a little bit of new blood coming in, as far as like teams are now going to take it a little more serious because they're going to want to stay up there. So I think you're going to see some changes in the team and the performance and the players that are coming in. And again, another great reason to why we need that whistle. Because when you're fighting for your life there, it's going to get a little more pushy. But it's the relegation. I think we've talked about it before, Jan, on other shows. But I think it's the coolest thing in sports. I think every sport should do some sort of form of relegation. So I love that we're putting it in there.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's fantastic. Mike D, can you shed some light yet? Is it too early before you know how many teams are going to register? Do you know numbers yet?
So we have numbers. We have everything set, and if you're paying attention, that's coming up next. So you are going to know, watching this video, who's in what division, and we'll go over what the divisions are called and what we're doing. But promotion and relegation really changes the whole psychology of the league. Every game matters. Teams need to prepare. Either you're winning going for the money, you're fighting to survive, or you're fighting to be promoted. So it's it's honest competition, and I think that's what you see in EPL, and you see what soccer globally does extremely well. And it's having a reason to play every game. And absolutely. I think that's what we get to mimic, and our little ecosystem that we've created here. I'm just excited. I'm excited this is honest. And these players and teams at the end of it, they're gonna have to look in the mirror, And so we'll go through what that is in a minute, but I want to hear from Corey and Dre of what this actually is going to look like.
Yeah, Corey, as a player, obviously promotion relegation will keep things much more exciting. So let's just say, for example, your teams, having a bit of a rough run, and you're in the middle of the table, but there's always still something to play for now, right?
Yeah, I think it's just a natural progression of what we've been doing at the Bridge Street League, because we had 16 men's teams last year. So I think now we're at a space where we can do promotion relegation. And I think it's good for teams to kind of gauge where they're at in terms of levels. So there's some that are like amazing. They're probably going to be in a top division. There's others that, like they were saying, they're younger teams that they're new to the scene, but they could get up there as well. So I think it's exciting for all teams involved, where it's not just you're good, you're bad. It's more where you at right now and trying to gauge you in that position of you should be in a top league competing for money, or you should be grinding out and trying to find out what works for you in this league. So when you're ready to step up, you're ready to go into the top division. So,
yeah. And Dre, what are your thoughts on this? Keeping things a lot more competitive throughout the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no one wants to see 16-0, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, so I think this will, and then everybody got to come ready every week.
Yeah, so I love the idea, guys. Promotion relegation, like you said, it's a great idea. Hopefully, it makes it an MLS someday, maybe USL. They can all figure it out, maybe. But until then, we got it going at the Bridge Street League, so that's great to hear. I can't wait to see how it ends up at the end of the season, and I'm sure it'll make things much more competitive for all the teams throughout the season, regardless of how they're doing. So that's great to hear. Can't wait to see how that unfolds. And moving into our last topic. What do you got for us, Mike D?
No, I need you to change slides. We're gonna stay here and we're gonna walk through what this promotion relegation looks like in the divisions.
Okay.
So here's the 3 divisions that we have. Okay, here's a pro rel. So the top flight, that's our division 1. They play for the cash purse. All right.
Okay.
You have the climb, that's division 2. It's called the climb. They're fighting for promotion. And now what we've done, because we have a lot of people, once we've introduced, like people throughout the year will ask, can we play for Bridge Street League? And we didn't really have any type of criteria for that to happen. It was kind of like, before we kind of networked these teams and players got, and it was us getting sponsors and all that. Well, now we have to cap it. We have to. So we've made a 3rd division to get into the climb, which is the Mad Fundamentals League, which is the proving ground at the underground that can happen through the off season. So when it comes to Bridge Street League, you'll be able to find out if you make it. And so what happens in Division 3, which is going to be starting next week, not too late to sign up. The top 2 teams will now enter the climb, and they'll be part of the Bridge Street League this year. So right now we have 6 teams. We're going to cap that at 12 teams. So there's still, if you're looking for an opportunity, but the idea behind that is to kind of prove that you're ready to do that. And actually Division 3, they play for a $300 cash prize in that league to be able to get promoted to the climb. So again, we want to see teams that are serious. We want to take players that are going to be there. So there is a criteria to be in that division. Not only do you have to win to be at the top, you have to show up a certain amount of times, right? You got to pay on time. You need to show that you're serious about your craft. So that's the idea behind Division 3. And it's also for teams in the Bridge Street League to also maybe form a different team or whatever, but to get touches in the off season at the underground. So that's what that looks like. And just thinking about this, the amount of drama that this is going to create, starting from the rivalries that are going to start to happen and what it means is it's going to be extraordinary. And then now moments for players to play in certain things that get them to a different level, like maybe take their team to the top. These are going to create iconic moments for the Bridge Street League. And that, to me, everything that we're creating is all about is now that memory, now that what is it called? 30 for 30 type document, as we're building through and building these moments, it's going to be different. So if you want to go to the next slide, I will now break down. We wait for the reveal, Jay.
Oh, drum roll. You ready?
Of the divisions for the men's side, because the women's is going to be there. So before you get there, here we go. Top flight division. Okay, it's 9 teams. We have Guatemala, Cali Steel, Chill FC, R1s, Aztecas, Muskegon FC, BIH, La Clica, and Corey's team, City Heat, in that top flight. And then in the climb, you have West Santos, Zoo City, One Touchables, Kentwood City FC, West Michigan Ballers, and then we have 2 D3 call-ups available.
I got you. Okay, yeah, there's 2 spots.
Yes. And actually, this is a mistake here. It should be 9 teams there. So there is someone that's not being said on this graphic. So forgive me for that. So there will be 9 teams in there. So we'll have 18 teams all together. And then on the women's side, we have the same teams that we had last year, plus 3 new teams entering the league. And there is some drama brewing.
Uh-oh.
Right? Sugar Rush might not be so sweet. So this is it. And so Corey, I didn't know if you knew this, that you were going to be on the top flight. I mean, because you guys got, so Corey's team has always been solid, right? I'll say it this way. All right. And this is just an objective. He's had talent. They just didn't put it together. And so now I feel like Corey's team last year not only upped their talent, but they started playing together, and they had the leading goal scorer on his team. But they just they figured out some secret sauce. So, are you excited to play for the flight? I mean, I know Corey, you're I mean, you're like me. You're a little bit on the. You're not with the Young Bucks anymore. You know.
Yeah, I feel like for our team, we have a lot of talent, like you were saying. We have a lot of countries represented. But we've been playing more consistently kind of off season. So I'm hoping when it comes back to British League, it's not like here's some really good players just put together and like, let's just see what happens. It's now like we're actually playing in other locations. We're kind of getting used to each other's playing style. So some of those guys are returning. There's going to be a couple of new guys being added to the team. But I've always felt like we can hang with anyone.
Yeah.
Like on a day, we can beat anyone if we put a mind to it, if we actually work together as a team. There's opportunities there for us to like beat anyone in that top division. So I'm excited. I think our guys will be up for it, and knowing that there's money involved, and knowing that we feel we're good enough to hang with everyone in the top flight is going to give them a lot of confidence. So I'm excited. I know a lot of those guys. I've played against them. I've grew up playing with them as well. So we've got some fresh players on the team that are not really in the scene as much. So that's going to be to our advantage, I feel like.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm excited to play whoever. And knowing that we're in the top flight is really exciting for our team. So, yeah, bring it on.
I love it. There you go, Corey.
There you go. So as we wrap up this Bridge Street League preview of the upcoming season, we've talked about a lot of big changes so far, a lot of exciting things, I think, that everyone in the community is going to be very excited about to look forward to. I'm going to do a quick roundtable, and I want you to tell us what is your most exciting thing you're looking forward to this season. Dre, I'll start with you.
Well, I'm looking forward to number one, getting back outside after this brutal winter. But outside of that, man, just to see the familiar faces and some new faces, right? Just getting to know the players and just, putting on for the city, man, just having a good time. Bringing those vibes for the spring and summer.
All right, I love it. Eric, what are you looking forward to the most?
I think just having it go again. That was so much fun last year. And I think just getting the action going, getting the once that music starts pumping again, and running around back there with Dre trying to give me a break every few minutes to regain my mind. But the chaos, the craziness for me. But to see also how these changes that we've initiated, how well they take, and to be able to workshop a lot of this stuff with Michael after each game, kind of sitting down and just kind of going, okay, this really worked well. Let's push this forward, or we need to tweak this. It's a never-ending process, but it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, just being back in the middle of everything, right? Corey, as a player, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, for me, as a player, but also just working behind the scenes with everything that's countries this year, I think the turf's going to be really exciting for a lot of people just to play in it, just to have it there. I think that's going to be huge. Me and Michael, and Eric, we've had a lot of meetings outside. So not just the British League, but just a lot of stuff that we have planned for this year. Atlas Countries for the World Cup and for other events. That's what I'm excited to, but that's kind of me in work mode. But as a player, I think the turf is going to be huge for British League and just playing in general. So
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. And last but not least, Mike D, what are you most excited for the new Bridge Street League?
The moments that we get to create for these players and watching these players, you know, in their natural habitat, excelling, doing what they do, what they love, and being their biggest fan, and then seeing live the legendary history that we're creating in Grand Rapids and putting Grand Rapids on the map. Seeing it live, living it, being part of it. This year is going to be bigger and better and insanity. So I'm thrilled to see these players experience it and watch them have these moments that they'll never forget.
Well, guys, I love it. I love everything you're doing, not just for street soccer, but soccer in your community. If you're just tuning in, if you don't know what the Soccer Rebellion is, I urge you to check them out on their website online. Make sure you check them out on social media, on Instagram. Make sure you check out what they're doing for their community, the amazing things at the underground, and make sure you look out this summer for the Bridge Street League. And until next time, straight from the training ground.